All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Batman Dark Patterns, issue number 1 from DC Comics. I'm not sure how many issues is. I have only this issue because I'm a little bit hesitant when it comes to modern comics. But I must admit, this was a pretty fun one. So without further ado, let's dive in. And, there's some shenanigans going on in Gotham as always. 12-year-old boys doing chicken with oncoming trains, dogs that are on the loose terrorizing people, etc. People that have been burned in buildings because of an insurance fraud or something like that. But even the Batman knows that he cannot be everywhere and he can save people from themselves. Now, what I like about immediately is we see Batman basically almost in his old costume, except that he has a circular chest emblem instead of an oval, which I personally like more. But, we see him back in spandex, instead of full armor. And I like that very much because it's very close to, the older comics where Batman just wear spandex, right? His gray, his blue, his black Batman suit. And the art, I think this is great. Looks cool. The panels are looking amazing. It's been by Dan Waters, Hayden Sherman, Triona Farrell, Frank Chivotkovich, Ariana Tortura, and Rob Levin. And so I'm going in blind. I saw some art and I think, okay, that looks cool. But is the story cool, Just before I made the same mistake with the Lobo comic, that I did. Was it yesterday or the day before? That. Anyway, so Batman goes to Jim Gordon because Jim Gordon has, there is a victim, and then Batman comes in. I love the play of shadows, the panel layout, the colors. It's very cool, well done. And so this guy is Dr. Sarika. He's a forensic pathologist who just opened a lab in Gotham. So Jim says, well, maybe we can, use his help because this guy knows a lot about wound patterns and bone fractures, etc. But he's a little bit goofy. He says, from what I've read of your lifestyle, I hope I won't see you on a slab too soon, because he says, though I'm sure your blood and flesh hold a myriad of fascinating tales by now, right? So it seems that this is the third murder, right? So there's Francis Oakley, who was a lawyer, and Kenneth Armitage was retired, and then we have Mr. Choi, and this guy says, it's magnificent work, But then Batman says he removed their tongues and teeth first so they could scream. I meant from a professional perspective, the cleanest. However, your killer he had plenty of medical training. Obviously, says Batman. He says Gordon outside. So Batman doesn't trust this guy. He says he's a little bit odd, but we all have. It's all we got. The drooling, the way his eyes dart around the room, consistent with abuse of fencyclide. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. Or formaldehyde. And so Jim says, Lord, you think Sarika's getting high on embalming fluid? So it seems that the last Corona quit years ago when the Joker sent him a bouquet of flowers with a "to my favorite collaborator" card. Anyway, so Batman says, well, there's 3 dead bodies, and he's got to do the Batman thing and figure it out because he's a detective, right? The art, I think it's really good. I like this. I like it when artists do the work, doing their best they can to, bring the best in every comic, and this looks fantastic. Anyway, so he's breaking into this the previous dead guy, Oakley, the lawyer, right? So the office has refused to make his private files available from the GCPD, Gotham Central Police Department, if I remember correctly, citing sensitive material. Of course, that doesn't stop the Batman, but then a rent-a-car private security comes, and Batman, tried to dispose of it, but there's more. And I like it, that Batman is, on a defensive position because, normally he would kick their asses in seconds. But, on the other hand, this is probably not canon. And he, like I said, he's not armored Batman, not invincible Batman, the Batman that has an answer for everything. It seems that this is just a guy, Batman, Bruce Wayne, working out, becoming the Batman, but not invincible or unbeatable. But these just are rent-a-cops. He has not real much of a problem, but they are keeping coming, and he's wondering why a lawyer that is dead has so much security here, right? First escape, he says. They have not come to play, but this guy's shaking and he's, wounding the Batman. And so Batman, tries to get away. And I love this panel that they all just lock and load on Batman. And then he's escaping, but, he's wounded. Pretty cool. So later in the Batcave, Alfred wants to help him, but Bruce says, it hurts less when I do it. They're all here, Alfred. Francis Oakley has recently been taking on pro bono cases. An altruistic lawyer. Pity no one told his security firm about his bleeding heart before they shut you. So Bruce says it's all corporate clients. Ace Chemicals, Iceberg Lounge, even some LexCorp subsidiaries. So yeah. Anyway, so he's gotten fat representing the fattest of the fat cats, then tried to work off his guilt. I like that. And the man who died tonight was prosecuted a few years ago, accused in deaths of his elderly parents, and quickly cleared with Oakley's help. Could this be a revenge killing of some kind? Anyway, the man who died last night lost a lawsuit against the city after a bridge collapsed while his wife drove his daughter home across it. Oakley represents the city. One of a night, men who lost their families, who were left alone in the world by tragedies. You are aware there's still a bullet shard inside that wound you're stitching? Master Bruce, I'm afraid I must insist. He looks at him and he gives him the pincet or the whatever, pincer? Yeah. There's a half dozen men in these files meet the same criteria. You think they're all targets. How will you know who's next? Well, it seems that the murders are alphabetical, right? So Armitage, Choi, right? And again, I love the perspective. It's really well done. Compliments of the colorist with the nice, glowing, well, not glowing, but more orange and yellowish lights coming up here from below, very bright, and then going darker when you go up. And then, the little bit green on the background, and then the bat logo in the sky. Pretty well done. Also, this blimp here that I almost didn't see. Very nice. Nice. I love the details. Anyway. So, Michael Gallo is a petty thief, or he was until a year ago when he made the mistake of robbing a home of a maidman affiliated with the Falcons. No police report was filed, and of course the crime families conduct their own investigation. A week later, Gallo's wife was found floating in Gotham Bay. He got the message and has been working as a janitor ever since. He refused to get involved in a class action case built against the Falcons. I bugged his apartment while he was at work. Inside felt like a shrine to a dead woman. He's been sobbing since he returned home an hour ago. But now, footsteps. So, there is someone in his apartment. Mr. Gallo. Who's there? What are you doing in my apartment? So it's so lonely, isn't it? Says the voice. What are you? Says Gallo. What is it, Gallo? Gallo. Gallo, right? Gallo. Yeah, sure. Every night you cry, and the wounds never close, the gaping holes they leave behind. Batman lets him speak. I can give you what I could never have, what they took away from me. They took it away from me, but you can have it, so very much of it. And then Batman just jumps into action, jumps into this window, and then the voice says, did that hurt? And he asks again, did that hurt? And I thought, wait, what? What is this? So Batman invades. He's no fighter. His stance is non-existent. His hands low. I aim for the solar plexus to shut this down before it even starts. And then I realized those are nails I'm about to drive through his throat. Dude. And if I strike his chest, the spikes in his flesh are in danger of rupturing his heart or lungs. Even those in in his arms and legs seems purposely adjacent to the major arteries. His flesh is a tapestry of near fatal self-mutilation. I can't hit him without killing him, but he can't hit me. And he does. Dude, that's so cool and disturbed and crazy as well. Right? So Batman gets a licking because he cannot defend himself. He shouldn't be this strong. He shouldn't be in agony. He should be in agony. It's like he doesn't feel it. He doesn't feel it. I need to use the bell. There must be some way to stop him hitting me. But apparently Gallo has been prepared in case the Falcons ever came back for him. I like this because, he explains here, the shot is wild. It goes safely wild, but it's still a shotgun fired in the living room. I like that, you know? I like when some real things happening in some kind of in this case, you know, and shotgun inside a closed building. So it's probably very, very extremely loud. And you don't see that much, you know, because normally you see stuff like this and then the fighting continues, right? Or something like that. But all these small little things makes this, you know, realistic quotation marks. So yeah, I'm on board with this. I like this because we never see Bruce or Batman, plugging his ears because of loud sounds. In this case, with a shotgun, by a shotgun. Anyway, let's move on. So Batman's not happy. You idiot! What the hell was that thing? What the hell did the thing want? To torture you to death. What? Why? So the killer is gone. Later, in Wayne Mansion, he's at the library. What are you looking for, Master Wayne? It's somewhere in one of these my father's old medical books. If I remember right, this first appeared in the medieval manuscripts going back to the 14th century. It was intended as a map of pain, a portrait of every agony could be inflicted on the human body. Sounds somewhat abominable. It wasn't meant for harm. It was intended for an index to cure people of their suffering. This is it. This is what attacked me, he says. A wound man. He thinks he's healing his victims in some way, and tomorrow night he will kill again. And that leads us to the next issue. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I must say I'm 100% on board with this. I want to know more. So I tried to get the other books. Hopefully I can get them still because I have this, a while in my possession. So yeah, good art, nice layouts of panels, interesting colors. It has this very darkish, very much black aesthetic. And yeah, Batman not invincible. Very fun. I like that. And we have the return of some, an altered version of the old Batman suit. Really cool. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. See you next time. Bye-bye.